You know what it is. That's right. It's time to talk money with your money nerd and financial coach. Now, tighten those purse strings and open those ears. It's the Money Talk with Tiff podcast.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Tiffany's Take, where I answer your money questions right here on the podcast. So if you want your question answered, just go to www.moneytalkwitht.com/Ask Tiffany, and I'll be more than happy to answer for you. So for today's episode, I wanted to talk about finding unclaimed money, because this is something that not a lot of people do. And when I have done this in the past, I actually found some things. And also, after telling other people about it, they found some things as well. So I wanted to do a whole episode dedicated to some resources that you can use to find some old money that you may be entitled to, that you may have forgot about or didn't know was out there. So first and foremost, let's start with the state, right? Because anytime you have a paycheck that you never got, or there was a refund due to you from, like, let's say your utility company or whatever, they have to report it to the state that this money is out there. So typically your state would have more information on if you have any funds like that out there. So a resource that you can use is the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators website. So NAUPA, and I'll make sure I have the link in the show note. It's unclaimed.org. But that is a national network collecting records from all 50 states. And from there, you can find links to each state's official unclaimed property program. I know here in North Carolina, the process was very simple. I also checked New York, and that was very simple as well. So you just go to these websites for each state, wherever you've lived before, and you just type in your name, some basic information, and then it pops up with records that may or may not be yours. So definitely check and make sure that it is your record by checking, the details. If you've never worked somewhere, then obviously that's probably not yours. It might be someone else with the same name that was in the same state. So just check it over carefully. Then once you get through the process of actually getting to claim it, you do have to put in a little bit more information just so they can verify who you are, and then your funds are on the way. So I've used this before, and I've done it via New York and North Carolina, and it worked well. Another thing to check out is the IRS. The IRS may owe you money if your refund was undelivered or unclaimed. So if you had to get a check in the mail, or if your direct deposit didn't go through, the IRS could still owe you that money. So to find out if that applies to you, just go to the IRS's website, Where's My Refund tool, and you can check the status of your refund. I'll make sure I put that link in the show notes as well. I'll put all these links in there. Another thing to look into, which I had to do with my grandma when she passed away, was to look into old pension and retirement plans. So if you left a job and forgot about your pension plan, you might have that money waiting. And a company website that you can use is Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation. It has a searchable database for this. And so you can put in your information, see if there's any old pension or retirement plans out there. This is great resource for if you have any seniors in your family, so like your grandparents or great grandparents, just to see if they have anything out there that could be beneficial to them now. Life insurance policies, y'all. If a loved one passed away and you're the beneficiary on their life insurance policy, that might be unclaimed money as well. We had to do this with my grandma too, because she had so many different things in so many different places. We were like, you know what, let's just double check. And shout out to Aquania Escarne from The Purpose of Money, because when my grandma passed away, she was very helpful in giving me this information, because I didn't even know this exists. But the National Association of Insurance Commissioners has a tool on their website to help you look for unclaimed life insurance money. So shout out to Aquania for that information. And I wanted to share it with you all to make sure that you have that as well. So you can go to that website, check out the tool that they have, put in the information, and you can see if you are a beneficiary or any life insurance policies of someone that passed away. Another thing you can look at is government websites. So if you go to usa.gov/unclaimed money, this is a resource where you can find a list of all the places you could have money and a list of reputable sites where you can claim it. So this is like a conglomerate website that has all of these resources that I'm mentioning in this episode, plus more, that you can go to and see if you have any money out there. I will really quick say a word of warning. There are companies that offer to find this money for you for a fee. Don't pay these fees. Most of the time, it's scams. Most, if not all, of the information these companies use is available for free. So you can easily do this yourself. Don't feel like you have to pay someone to do this for you. And honestly speaking, at least in my case, when I've done this, the amounts were so small, like it wouldn't have been worth paying anyone. I think the most that I've gotten was like an old paycheck that was like $100 and something, right? So don't pay anybody to do this for you. That's why I'm doing this website. You could do the research yourself, and it's very simple, easy, straight to the point. All right. So let's get back into the list. So another thing that you can check is credit unions. So if you've ever had a credit union account that you closed, you might have unclaimed money. So you can check that at the National Credit Union Administration website. They have a tool to check for unclaimed deposits. Now you might be thinking, how could this happen? Let's say, for instance, you open a credit union account, you totally forgot about it. They administratively closed it, or maybe you closed it and didn't realize or wasn't able to get them funds that day when you closed it. You may have unclaimed deposits in there. So just check it out. You never know. Another website is missingmoney.com. So this is another reputable site to check for unclaimed property. If you check all of these other ones, they pretty much pull in most of the same information, but that's just another resource for you. Then you can also check, we talked about federal taxes, but what about your state tax refunds? Check with your state departments of taxation to see if you have unclaimed tax refunds at the state level. So this is all state specific. So just type in the Google search, North Carolina Department of Taxation or North Carolina Department of Revenue, and you should be able to find their website. And then from there, it should be easy to find, where you can check on your tax refunds or search for any unclaimed refunds. So hopefully this episode was helpful for you to find some unclaimed money that you may have outstanding. It is a very easy process. It doesn't take too long on most of these websites. I'll be sure to have all of these links in the show notes. So hopefully this episode was helpful in thinking about different ways that you can find some extra unclaimed money that may be out there for you. I know I've done this before in the past, like I said at the beginning, and also friends and loved ones have done this as well, to just find extra money that didn't even know existed. In one situation, I had a check from an old employer that I worked at very briefly. I think I was only there for a few weeks or so. And it was like 2018 when I did the search, and that check was like from 2015. So it was something that was super old, totally forgot about it, but I was able to get those funds at that time. So definitely check it out. Something that I do periodically just to see what's out there. And then also another thing to help with your finances this month, I am offering my Budget Nirvana course, Mastering Your Money Flow, for $97. Its regular price is $297. So this is an excellent opportunity to get into Budget Nirvana and then just get some information on how to make, manage, and stick to a budget made completely for you. Also, with access to that, you get access to my community for free. So definitely check that out. I will have a link to that in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for listening to the Money Talk with Tiff podcast and this episode of Tiffany's Take. I truly appreciate you. And please make sure that you rate and review this podcast if you enjoy it and if it's helpful for you. It helps other people find us. The way out of poverty is ideas, and I love spreading this information. Also, I would love to hear if you find any money as a result of listening to this episode. You can go to www.moneytalkwitht.com/contact us, and I'll be more than happy to hear from you. I love hearing from my listeners. And just let me know, how much did you find? Was it helpful? All of these different things. It would be interesting to know. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you for listening, joining, and being a part of the Money Talk with Tiff podcast this week. You can check Tiff out every Thursday for a new Money Talk podcast. But if you just can't wait until next week, you can listen to previous podcast episodes at moneytalkwitht.com or follow Tiff on all social media platforms at Money Talk with T. Until next time, spend wise by spending less than you make. A word to the money wise is always sufficient.